uh, is not taking us to what we can do. Ramadan has a lot of energy, and subhanAllah, it was the month where Muslims achieved a lot of victories in this month. So we cannot just limit us in the al-khitab al-wadi, nice talk, storytelling talk, and that's it. We can go higher than that. We can ask, we can achieve by looking deep in the Quran, in the core values of Islam, the ultimate purposes and the overarching goals of Islam, and connect them to our life instead of just repeating the same stories. أوله مغفرة وسطه رحمة وعتق من النار, or شهر القرآن, and we just mentioned some stories here and there. That's nice, but we can go more, I think. That's my comment for today.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Suhail.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How is everybody doing?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. We're enjoying the blessings of Ramadan.
Yeah. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala rasulullah. Just I heard some of the comment of Brother Muhammad, and I'm going to share a story with you, that real story in Ramadan that tells you really this kind of discourse and this kind of thinking, this Salafi, the superficial, shallow, that is just موعظة, خطاب يعني وعظي. Its effect ends at the door of the mosque, because you're not shaping minds, you're not changing concepts, you're just telling them story from, even they're questionable how authentic they are from the history, and telling them things that they heard many times without putting them in context, without any framework, etc. The Adam Center is one of the best managed centers in United States, because the people who are in charge, they tend to be executive in corporate America. So when it comes to management and negotiation and buildings and etc., they are probably up there. So in this Ramadan, they got the new facility in Fairfax. After seems negotiation, and it was almost, the deal was fell apart, and then probably one day before or Monday they finally got it. So months of, it seems, of negotiation, and then they finally got it, and they did an excellent job in couple days to prepare it for Ramadan, Taraweeh. I mean, this is the story that one of them mentioned the first night. Get the carpet, the sound system, everything. It's an when it comes to management, it's an amazing job. So what is missing? What is missing is, from my perspective, the most important thing in this whole idea. It's not just to get a place for people to pray, because at the end of the day, Taraweeh, people can pray it even at home. The main thing for me is those 5 or 10 minutes inside the Taraweeh, that you have an audience. Many of them, they come only on Friday, and now they're coming every day. So you have like 30 Fridays or 30 khutbas in Ramadan. It's an amazing opportunity. If you prepare like some sort of curriculum, you really can have big impact on those people. So what did they do for that part, for that most important? Nothing. It's only haphazard. So when we finish the 4 rak'ah of Taraweeh, somebody take the microphone. Is Dr. Suhail available? Who is here? Just come and say something. So the most important part, to tell you, this activist mentality and management is getting us nowhere. And then when somebody comes out, just say the things that Brother Muhammad was mentioning. It's Ramadan, it's opportunity to reconnect, etc. It's a good thing. I mean, things that people have heard many times, and it's not put, you don't put it in perspective. Now we learn in academia that teaching, it's not just telling information. knowledge is structured information. You have to put it in structure, in perspective, and you have to link it together, like link it to the mission of Islam, to the maqasid, it's not just telling people stories or telling people sharing information. That will have no effect on them. So I felt very bad, Wallah. Felt very bad that the large audience, many of them are young people, and you have that golden opportunity of like 10 minutes every night that you could have a big impact on those people, and then you squander it by just telling anything. I mean, it's a very superficial talks. They have, I mean, not, of course, not prepared, and things that, so that reminded me of something happened in early 90s. I was the president of Islamic Center of Madison, Wisconsin. So in our first meeting, I asked the brothers, the board said, okay, what do you think is the most important activity that we are organizing in the mosque? Everybody came up with different ideas, the Eid event, the Ramadan, whatever. I said the most important activity in this mosque is Jumu'ah. Why? Because you have the largest crowd and the most attentive. That's, you have the largest attendance. Most people you'll not see them in any other event. You have a halaqah and you have only few people showing. But Jumu'ah, you have the whole community there. And then there is no distraction. There is no background noise. Everybody is attentive. So that should be the most important activity. And we're going to stop this idea of calling people on Thursday night and saying, are you available tomorrow? Just come and say something in Jumu'ah. We're going to stop that. And we're going to take full advantage of this Jumu'ah. We're going to make sure, inshallah, that we make them like connected. It's like what I'm doing now in Shirley Gate. Make sure that there is a message. It's not just having somebody to fill the place and deliver the Jumu'ah. No, there will be a message, there will be some sort of curriculum, and we'll be tackling a lot of misconceptions and try to fix them, because this Muslim mind requires a lot of rewiring. There is a lot of damage happened there.
Yes.
And there are a lot of things that are taken for granted and they are wrong, a lot of taboos, a lot that people do not discuss. There is a lot of work that needs to be done. So it's again, you have, and when I enter any mosque in Ramadan, I always have, especially that like first day, I always have that mixed feeling. You feel so happy that the mosque is full, and you feel very sad that this opportunity is wasted again, squandered. So you feel very good that this mosque is full, but also you feel bad that the opportunity is missed. And then the idea that comes to my mind all the time, if this community, if those people who are attending Taraweeh, they get the right message of Islam and they become organized along the model of the prophetic community, what could happen on earth? This large numbers of people, it seems they have good faith and they have good intention and they're coming to Taraweeh and they're fasting. If these have a mission and they have a leadership and they embrace the mission of Islam and they are built along the model of the prophetic community, how much we can achieve on earth.
Dr. Safi, you want to add anything?
I really want to take this opportunity and introduce everybody to Akh Yusuf Ahmed, who is with us today. And he's originally from Somalia and running for a position on the school board. So Dr. Suhail, I want you to meet him. I met him Friday outside the masjid and find out that he's running for election. So I thought that he should join us and we all should probably listen to his program. What is he running for? What is he hoping to accomplish? and maybe if we like what we say, try to support him.
Mhm.
Brother, can you address everybody a little bit?
It's Brother Ahmed Mahdi, actually.
Ahmed Mahdi, yes.
Assalamu alaikum, shukran. Nice to meet you, all of you. I'm a part of the Shirley Gate community here. I live about 5-minute drive from the masjid. My family here have 2 boys, 15 and 12, and my wife and I here. We both work currently for the U.S. government. My wife works for the State Department. She's a physician, and I work for the Federal Aviation Administration and managing the cybersecurity program. And I did my studies here in DC area, both undergraduate and graduate. For the last 13 years, we were overseas through the State Department, lived Saudi Arabia, alhamdulillah, 4 years. And then we moved to India, and then we moved to Qatar, Kenya, Nairobi. And then the last 2 years, we were in UAE, US Embassy, and then reassigned back here in Washington and moved back to here, my Fairfax. And I've been here Fairfax since 2001 in this house. So first time our 2 boys went to public school here. In the last 12 years, they were in overseas. And when I participate in the school parent-teacher meetings, the academia, the curriculums, I was shocked what is in the curriculum and what's coming down by pipeline that the school is managing by politicians and putting their agenda either the left or right, and left with us confused children. And our community, alhamdulillah, they're strong. But if this speed of education, the way the politicians are driving, we will lose our children. And inshallah, we will not. And we don't have strong voices on the table, either the board or even the Congress. Therefore, number of American, concerned parents and different background, we get together and we decided, what can we do? We can complain, we can write letters, but we concluded that some family value has to be on the table. And to be frank with you, our community in Fairfax, they support the Muslim community because we do have the same value with them, family value. So we have commonalities, and we decided that we should materialize their commonalities. And they strongly support me. They say, listen, you have a Muslim background, people like you, we need to be a partner with, and we need to run for the school board. And that's the background of me. Let's see, I was born in Somalia and immigrated here in 1984, and spent my time here in Fairfax. I worked my early years, undergraduate engineering, County Fairfax development. So I do have a experience in Fairfax County, and then later on the federal government. So my platform as a federal employee, I cannot join either party. I have to stay the fine line and focus the education and family value and safety for our children. And I will take quiet, and if anybody have a question for me, or if I don't answer any question, I appreciate it.
Brother, can you turn the camera on so people would know what you look like?
Okay, let me see. I'm using my iPhone, so I'm going to do it right now. Let's see here. Good. I hope you guys can see me.
Too much light behind you. We can't see you.
Let me move.
Like a shadow.
Let me move. Let me move outside.
Okay. I like the fact that more Muslims are getting encouraged to run for office. And I think this should be part of our message to them. And I think it is. I heard Dr. Suhail talking about this. First time I went to the masjid, to Shirley Gate. He was talking about making a difference in our society. And one way in the United States to make a difference is to be a candidate for election and to be elected and to try to change things to the better. Here you are. This is better now. Okay.
Jazakallah khair. It's a really good opportunity, and Alhamdulillah, very impressive profile already. And that probably set you up for a very promising career or path. So make the school board just the beginning, inshallah, because with that experience and that credentials, you can go very far. My recommendation always for Muslims who run for office, first of all, take a step back ideologically, I mean, from Islamic perspective. And I believe that Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, which was emphasized in Quran as the mission of the Muslims, and that's what makes them special, and that's their assignment and their task. In our days, it translates into civic engagement, because that's the only way you can fulfill it. Not only civic engagement is a good idea or something good to do, that's the way you can fulfill, that's the only way you can fulfill your mission. Why? Because we are no longer tribal societies, like you go and do Amr Ma'ruf wa Nahy Anil Munkar in the street and see people and tell them about, give them public education or awareness. This is a structured society. This is structured society. The only way you can have an impact and influence and fulfill the mission of Islam is to be civically engaged, civically aware and civically engaged. And therefore, civic engagement, we have to take it to the next level, because nowadays it is practiced by many Muslims as a hobby, as something on the side, as something that is nice to do. We're going to have to take it to the next level to become, that's your mission. That's how you fulfill it, by being civically aware and civically engaged. There is no other way you can have influence in the society unless you are civically engaged. And civically engaged is much more than politics. Civic engagement is bigger than politics. It involves charity, charitable work. It involves advocacy. It involves voting, running for office, all the package. So that's one thing that we really have to start educating our community about this, and that the idea that we are not doing something, we are not like other minorities, that our goal is to have more people there so that we can get more benefits from the system to our community. That's not appropriate for Muslims to think this way. We are not trying to increase our numbers there so that we can get more benefit for the community. We are there to fulfill our mission to make this society a better place for everybody. And that's one. Second is, I can see it already happening, alhamdulillah, but I just want to emphasize, Brother Ahmed, make sure that you don't run as Muslim, as someone representing the Muslim community. You are representing your district. You're representing everybody. So remember the Kennedy's statement that you are running for, you are an American candidate who happens to be Muslim.
Yep.
Not the other way around.
Okay.
You're not a Muslim candidate. And remember the experience of African American communities. All presidential candidates who run as African American did not succeed. Obama succeeded because he ran as mainstream. He was not representing a minority. He ran as a mainstream. And that's what Kennedy said before when they start calling him the Catholic candidate. He said, I'm candidate for America, for presidential candidate, American presidential candidate who happens to be Catholic. Yeah. So that's very important. The other thing is, I have seen, unfortunately, sometimes our community drag candidate in the wrong direction. They present them like in a mosque. They give them the opportunity to talk to the mosque, and they introduce them as someone who is representing the community. That's wrong. You're not representing the community. Again, and make sure that you use the same discourse, whether you go to mosque, to church, to any place. Don't use like an Islamic religious discourse in the mosque, because we live at the time and where everything is recorded, and social media, etc. So make sure that you don't have any inconsistency in your talk. At the same talk, you are talking, you are running for a platform, you are running to improve education system and for everybody. So even if you are invited to a mosque, make sure that you don't give any hint or you start using an Islamic or religious discourse so that you will be projected or cornered as the Muslim candidate or the candidate who's representing Muslim community. No, you should be a mainstream candidate and knock on every door, go talk to all communities, any opportunities that comes, and then it's the same message. Stay on message. It's the same message that you're not running just because there are some subjects that are being taught that are anti-Islamic. No, that's not the purpose. You are running, as you mentioned, because of family values, because of better public education, etc. So make sure that that your platform and your message is one and the same everywhere, because it's very easy. They can record you and they can see the double talk, and that can damage your campaign. It's the same message, same discourse, same platform everywhere, and don't allow anybody. You may be subject to any attacks. Don't allow anybody to corner you to be someone who's representing a minority or who's running on behalf of that minority.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Shukran.
May I say something?
Please, yes.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad Habbal. I'm from Houston, Texas. But I'm happy to see someone like you running. And we have a lot of people in Houston, by the way, running and having positions with local government, which I'm very happy to see. And I just want to mention something. What Dr. Sohail said is very true. But I just wanted to add something. We are not running as Muslims. We are running as concerned citizens, yes. But I think we share with the rest of the community the idea of protecting family values. Now, I'm very concerned. I see a lot of things on social media about a lot of videos exposing and showing what's happening to our education system regarding the attack on family values. Now, we Muslims share with Christians, with Jews, with other people, this core value here: the man, the woman, the children, the family. And I see an increasing effort to make basically an attack on that in the even elementary schools, showing that it's okay to have a man and a man, even showing explicit pictures in books and to teach children it's okay to be gay, it's okay to be married to another man, it's okay for two women to. It's not okay. I mean, we Muslims share this value with the rest of the community that we want to protect family. If the family is destroyed in this country or everywhere else, I think we will lose a lot. We will lose everything. So it's just my concern that I wanted to voice to you, and I hope that you agree with me that we should keep our eyes open to what is being taught to our children in elementary schools.
Thank you. Excellent.
I'm happy to share that the main topic that Brother Ahmed talked to me about was the family values. When we talked last Friday, it was family values. And I think it's on the mind of every one of us, and it's very important to us. I'm glad to see that we all share the same concern. So, brother, we hope that everybody will know that you're running. I don't know what other ways we need to. I mean, what is it that we can do in order to introduce you to a wider community? We'll be glad to help. So, if you have any plans, share them with us. So let's see what else can be done other than introducing you to this group here.
Excellent. Assalamu alaikum again. Thank you very much. All the really advice you guys provided will help us and help, inshallah, our families and our community. I'm all in agreement. So initial right now process that I'm going through until Tuesday, to submit my candidate application or petition forms and the package that the county require, which alhamdulillah, Friday, I collected 80 members from our community signature. And as of this morning, I do have a 191, even though only I needed 125. So alhamdulillah, I get that. And I'm gonna finalize that inshallah Monday, Tuesday, and submit it. Once my name is accepted and clear, and inshallah we'll do that, then I will start officially the campaign that I need to go through, which will have the flyers, the background, the website, and then community involvement, which I'll come back to you exactly what our platform will look like. And without your consultation and others, I will then move forward with it. And inshallah, it will become, inshallah, our platform. It's not my platform, it's our community in Fairfax County platform. And everyone who lives in Fairfax County who value family value, safety, education will be part of our team. And we welcome every person who has that same value. And to answer your question, allow me, inshallah, to next Friday to come back with good news and then provide the information that you guys can share with the community and share with others.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Good luck to you, brother.
Shukran, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Brother Sam. Brother Samuel. It's been a while since we've seen him. Would you like to add anything?
I think you muted.
You are mute. Unmute. Brother Sam. We can't hear you. Okay, now.
No. I was in politics for many years. I was the Democrat. I ran as a Democrat. I was the head of the Democratic Party in Annapolis. And for 8 years, I was the head of the leader in the Democratic Party. Then I ran for city council. I was elected. Then I ran for mayor. I was not elected. The mayoral campaign turned out to be a disaster. I left politics altogether and ended up in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, Mecca province. It's amazing. But I'm very grateful to Allah, and I'll be praying for you, brother. If I can give you any advice, I'll be glad to do so. All I can say is, even the people within, I don't know what political party you're running with, but whatever it is, your best, even they, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, they can be your worst enemy. So stay close to Allah, believe in and trust in Him, and give yourself to the people of your community. Red, yellow, black, and white, they're all precious in His sight. And help us, Lord, to be your ambassadors to a lost and dying world. We live in a world where wrong seems right, and we need to open the doors for everyone. We need to be allies with all who love God and want to serve Him, but most of all, serve the people. So I'm praying for you. If I can ever be of help, let me know.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very much. That's a great advice. And inshallah, we will not do anything with Allah's help. And we all start with the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I really enjoy the Friday speeches and khutbah. And I know Brother Savi mentioned one of the Fridays, I think about 3 months ago, I think the khutbah started with the community service, empower, encourage your knowledge, and then teach others. And I think that's also one of my beliefs and will follow, inshallah. So you're right, without Allah's guidance, we will not do anything. And we ask Allah forgiveness and His guidance.
Very good. Dr. Suhail, let's move to your words of wisdom about how to become Muslims that are mission-oriented.
Allah, ya akhi, that's what is keeping me busy all the time, thinking and trying, and with ups and downs. There are sometimes things that gives you hope, sometimes things that really discourage you, because the traditional discourse and way of thinking is deeply entrenched in the Muslim mind, unfortunately. But this has been like centuries of stagnation, and then decades of petrodollars sponsoring the Wahhabi version of Islam. It was so widespread everywhere and so deeply entrenched, even by all categories of Muslim. Those who are practicing, what the CPU here is Salafi. Those who are not practicing, yes, the CPU is not here, but the ones that they want to get it Salafi. I mean, the one they think it's right. So even if they don't have it, some people are not practicing at all. But if you ask them to define Islam, they will define it the way that is unfortunately prevalent. It's the sha'air and the fiqh. It's the rituals and what is halal and haram. And that's not what Islam was introduced. And that's not what that Islam should ever be introduced as a list of tasks to do, and so that you can get the ajr, and then list of tasks to avoid so that you will not be punished. That's really the major damage that we have done to Islam, to reduce to something like this, to reduce it to a short list of do's and don'ts. And what's the purpose? Do's so that you can get ajr. So read Quran, even if you don't understand, just read Quran, so that every page and every word you will get rewards. And then what? And then there are a couple of things that are haram, you need to avoid them. Why? So that you will not be punished. That's all. And that's how we introduce Islam now. This great religion that produced that great community and that great success story, and people who changed this world and the course of history in the span of one generation, we reduced to a short list of do's and don'ts. It's a very unfortunate. So we are, working against very strong trend and very deeply entrenched misconceptions. Again, you have centuries of stagnation, centuries, no ijtihad, centuries of intellectual stagnation. And until now, people, when they want to talk about, they open Ibn Kathir and they open Ibn Taymiyyah, they open there totally relying on those work. Century of stagnation. And then you have this version of Islam, which is a minority. It's a version that is historically the Hanbali school of thought is a minority, is not a mainstream. But when you have that money behind it, when the oil was discovered and that money was behind it, so it was promoted everywhere, including among the community in the West and the United States, was so widespread, it became that's the standard. The standard is either the Wahhabi or the Azhari, so either the Salafi or the traditional, which is Salafi also. So the paradigm was really turned upside down. So what is essential in Islam became marginal, and what is marginal or not essential became the essence of Islam. It's tremendous amount of work that is needed to bring the pyramid or the paradigm to fix it, so that Islam should be introduced, as I shared slide last time, should be introduced as its commitment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or dedication, devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you are putting yourself completely in the service of Allah and His cause. And then when you do that, Allah does not need anything from you. Allah wants you to serve humanity. You come to dedicate yourself to Allah, and you say, oh Allah, just show me the way. I want to do everything that you expect from me and you want me to do. And you will find that Allah wants you to work on people and with people to make this world a better place, to help people become better people, and for yourself to be a better version of yourself. That's all. That's the heart of Islam that was lost. The tazkiyah and the islah is that you are dedicating yourself and your life to a mission that is centered around these three things. One, it's of course, it's a tawheed, it's a dedication to Allah. Everything is should be meant to in pursuit of the good pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But okay, how does it translate practically? It translates into these three tasks. You work on your iman, there is no question about it. You maintain it, you upgrade it, you refresh it, etc. And Ramadan is good opportunity for that, because that's the engine. That's the engine that is driving you. The stronger your iman, the more motivated you are to serve. So that's one thing you need to work on your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, getting to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, strengthening your faith, etc. And that's what the companions used to do. And I mentioned this in this last Jum'ah. I said the best description I find of the companions, كانوا رهبانا بالليل فرسانا بالنهار. كانوا رهبانا بالليل فرسانا بالنهار. They were monks at night. They look like monks because they were praying. And then during the day, they are knights. They are people who are on a mission. So basically, it's like you charge your cell phone at night, you use it during the day. That's what they do. During the night, they recharge their batteries, refuel, spiritual development. And then during the day, they go out to fulfill that mission. And then they use that energy, they come back at night to recharge. We lost that. We lost this paradigm or this picture, and that's what we need to revive. So one is Iman, but not Iman isolated. No, the Iman that is capacity building or production capacity, increase your production capacity so that you can do more fi sabilillah. And that's the connection between the two, by the way. The connection between tazkiyah and islah. Tazkiyah in management today, they call them production and production capacity. So you have machines, they produce at certain level. If you want to increase the production, then you need to get bigger machines. So tazkiyah is building capacity or capacity building. Tazkiyah, making yourself stronger. Stronger iman, more knowledge, stronger, better manners. That's tazkiyah. For you to become, and more resources. Because the more you have, the more you can do. So tazkiyah is self-development. You develop yourself to be, again, closer to Allah, with a stronger iman, with better manners, with more resources, etc. All of this is development. And then islah is the production. You deliver. Now, how you deliver that energy that you harness, you deliver it in two directions. One is helping those around you to be better people. That's also called tazkiyah, by the way. It's one word in Arabic, but when you translate it in English, it has both meaning. Self-tazkiyah, if you want, and tazkiyah for others. Self-development and mentorship or uplifting. So you put energy there, help people around you become better version of themselves. Take them with you. As you are moving up, as you are developing yourself, try to uplift people with you. And on the other track is the civic engagement or Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, which is working on making this world a better place for everybody. More just, more prosperous, more peaceful, more secure, more virtuous. These are the ultimate goals of Islam or purposes of Allah that Allah entrusted you to fulfill. That's what Islam should be introduced. And that's how we can turn it into unifying force, not divisive. Right now, it's dividing. Right now, you go to a Muslim country and you find Muslim groups or those who are practicing and committed, they are isolated from the rest of the society. Why? Because Islam is not introduced with that civic aspect in it. So if we fix this paradigm, then Islam become unifying force. You find yourself, whether you are in Muslim society or non-Muslim society, working hand in hand with somebody next to you who is not practicing, is not, or who is not Muslim. Doesn't matter. That's between them and Allah. That's between them and God. What matters for you is you are citizen of the same country, and you converge or you agree to work on certain causes, like we have been talking about family values. Many other people are concerned with family values. You don't have to be practicing Muslim. You don't have to be Muslim to be concerned with family values or the material that students are taught in school. So introduce Islam like this, and then where this rituals and fiqh come in, these, they are part of the tazkiyah process or the self-development. The rituals are meant to refuel and recharge your iman, your faith, and the fiqh, the halal and haram, is meant to keep you focused, not waste your energy or your time. You stay focused on mission. These are tools that should not become the goal, and they should not become detached. Why you're praying? I'm praying because I don't want to be thrown in hellfire. No, that's not why you're praying. You're praying to express your love and gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're praying to express your need and your dependence on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're praying to strengthen your iman. You're not praying to just get it out of the way so that you will not end up being punished. And that should not be your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is doing the minimum to avoid punishment. So it's a lot that needs to be done. And I can tell you that Brother Safi mentioned this also before, and they mentioned that there is a limit on what we can do through individual efforts, unless we cross the line and we turn this into organized effort, and we organize ourselves, even if we are a small group, organize ourselves along the model of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Unfortunately, we're going to end up maybe little bit more effect than the Salafi or the traditional discourse, but not big impact, because there is so much that can be done through individual efforts. There is a point where this has to turn into, and that point we did not cross it yet, the point where you turn this into collective organized group, how we can rebuild our community, not around the Islamic centers, but around the mission of Islam and the maqasid of Islam, so that we can be many organizations, we can be many Islamic centers, but we are one community and with one mission. And that community is a mainstream community. It's not a minority.
Yes.
It should be a mainstream community, thinking as mainstream, worried and concerned about mainstream issues, and should never think about only the issues that affect the Muslim community, and should never think or behave or conduct ourselves as minority, and definitely not as victimized minority, but should be a mainstream group who are striving to maximize their contribution to the greater good and their impact on for better America.
Thank you, Dr. Suhail. I see your hand, Muhammad, but let me comment on what Dr. Suhail is saying. I've been given like a 2.5 minute, 3 minute talk every day since the beginning of Ramadan. Yesterday, my topic was about the cognitive triangle. As a strategist, I like to dig a little bit deeper than what we need to do. I want to see sometime, are we to expect the results that we want out of what we're doing? And if we're not, why the results are not coming? In our case, that triangle has basically 3 sides, and one is ideas, which is what you're talking about, Dr. Suhail. The other, those ideas supposed to produce certain emotions. If those emotions are positive, then we can expect that the emotion to produce certain behavior that is similar to what you're telling us we should be doing. Very few are responding. And the number of us on this screen right now will tell us that we are few. Several hundred people listened to your khutbah, and few came to this meeting, although more and more and more people are learning about it. Basically, what I found out that most Muslims are on automatic pilot all the time. They are talking about Islam, they are going through the Siyam, they are doing their prayer, but all this is done while they are on automatic pilot. They are not intentional actions that they thought about and they meant to do because they hope to get to a certain particular purpose. So those actions are going with the wind at the end of the day. They're not intentional. They're not planned to be what they are. Emotionally, like you said, justly, we're thinking as Salafis. We think in Salafis is the right behavior. The reinforcement we get everywhere around us is that this is right and this is wrong. So in the back of our mind, what we're doing, some people even reacted to what we say in here as this is like a new religion. Well, yes, it is a new religion. Of course it is a new religion. We're not on automatic pilot here. We came intentionally to listen to something new, to become productive again. And this is not easy. You have to be truly committed if you truly want to change yourself and change the world, So I'm trying to say we need to look into it a little bit deeper. We need to see what's in the background, how to wake up people and make them intentionally want to move from automatic pilot into themselves being in charge of their own destiny. We don't want to just go through the motion of fasting or through the motion of reading the Quran. That will end with the end of Ramadan. And you've been saying, Dr. Suhail, Ramadan should be an exercise field where people are training to do certain things and they're going to carry that training the rest of the year. This is only a beginning point. But if we are on automatic pilot, doing what everybody expects us to do, what everybody else is doing, it's going to end with the end of Ramadan. So in order to get the expected behavior, we need to work on each one of us emotionally. We need to start with ideas like you're doing right now, but we need to continue to reinforcement. It is necessary for me, for instance, to talk to Muhammad Hamid all the time about my feeling toward what's happening. And don't minimize the effect of this. It's extremely important that we find in each other reinforcement of what we're feeling about. Otherwise, I would feel that I'm alone, I'm going against the trend, No, we need to reinforce each other and help each other think that this is what needs to be done and it is positive. I hope I related the same feeling to Brother Ahmed Mahdi when I met him in front of the mosque. He said, can I take a few minutes of your time? I said, sure, what about? He said, I'm running for school board. I said, I was looking for you. Because we need leaders. We can't be just living in Fairfax. If we move out of Fairfax sometime in the future, the people of Fairfax need to say, I wish those Muslims come back. Wouldn't that be something? Instead of just whether we are here or not, it's the same. This is what I want to say. I hope I added a little bit to the conversation.
Great.
Sir Muhammad Habbal, please go ahead.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. I wanted to say something which works for me, and I hope it's in line with everything that we are discussing here. Basically, let me introduce two concepts that I like so very much. Number one, the concept of sin and felony. Sin, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قل يا عبادي الذين أسرفوا على أنفسهم لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله إن الله يغفر الذنوب جميعا إن الله غفور رحيم. Allah says in the Quran, oh yeah, oh my servants, my worshippers who have sinned against themselves, don't despair. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive everything. Now, put 3 lines under sinned against themselves. The sin is something that you have done between you and your Lord, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive it. Now, the other concept is the felony or the crime in legal terms, which is something you did against the other, against your neighbor, against the other human being. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala requires that you go and fix it. And here comes the famous hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which I love very much and I repeat in front of everyone. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once was sitting with his companions and he said, do you know who is the bankrupt? I think this is a very famous hadith and we should be repeating it all the time. They said, oh Rasulullah, the bankrupt is someone who has no money. He said, no, that's not the bankrupt. So, oh, teach us, oh Rasulullah, who is the bankrupt? So he says the bankrupt is someone who comes on the day of judgment with lots of prayers and lots of fasting and maybe zakat and good things that he has done. But he has attacked someone. He has lied to someone. He has defamed someone. He has hurt someone. He has stolen from someone. He has done all these bad things against his neighbors, his community, everybody. So everyone comes on the day of judgment claiming retribution. Give me some of your good deeds, hasanat, to make up for what you have done. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts tipping the balance. I mean, he's losing all his good things, giving them as a retribution to the other people until he has nothing to show. But there are still people in line he has hurt. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts taking some of their sins and putting in his scale until his scale is full of bad deeds and he is thrown in hellfire. I think this hadith very much defines the role of a Muslim, his impact on the community. If we start turning ourselves into people who are trustworthy, who tell the truth, who help the needy, who are good neighbors, who impact the community like Brother Mahdi he is trying to do, inshallah. If we become activists, and then when people say, why are you so good doing so good things? We say, because I'm a Muslim. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Who is better in his speech than someone who calls for the faith and then does good deeds, and then when he's asked, how come you're so good? He says, because I'm a Muslim. I think if we live that role, if we really believe that, and we live that role, and we dedicate our lives to showing the rest of the world that we are good citizens, good neighbors, trustworthy, merciful, helpful, activist against all that is bad, then we are really living the true Islam. We don't have to say it. We just have to act it. And I think this is something that we all should remember, inshallah.
Thank you very much.
Great. And just to confirm what you said is that we need to embody it, not just talk about it, because everybody will say whatever they want about their faith, but people will wait until they see it in action. The best form of da'wah or is when we read the Quran, we find it in the story of Joseph alayhi salam. Why people came to him, not to somebody else in prison. They said, Inna naraka min al-muhsinin, that we see you, it's someone who's good. So they came to ask him to explain or interpret their dreams for them. He took advantage of that opportunity to credit everything, like you said, Brother Muhammad, like whatever good you saw from me, that's because of my faith. Not because of the family or not because I'm special, it's because of my faith. So I find that's anybody who want to be involved in da'wah or calling to Islam, that's the best formula, is show it in action. And when people are curious and they start asking you why you're doing this and what's special about you, then you credit your faith for it. And I have also a real life story. It happened back in the 90s in Madison. We have a brother was originally from Syria. He was doing his residency in the hospital. He is really, if you apply the Salafi criteria, he's an average Muslim. Why? Because the profile, he does not fit the profile. But he's so decent. If you apply the true Islam, the Islam of mu'amala, of the behavior and akhlaq, he comes on top. So you can see the true Islam places this person on top, and the Salafi Islam will put him on the bottom or borderline. Why? Because he does not dress in a certain way, he does not look in a certain way. Maybe his wife does not fit to match certain profiles, so he comes really very low on the scale. So this person, through his behavior, his knowledge of Islam is very limited, but as I said, he was very decent. His khuluq, his character manner is very high. So one of the nurses approached him and started to be curious about why you are different than others. I don't know what she noticed, but that's the question she came up with. Say, I see you, you don't look like others, or you don't behave like others. What's so special about you? He said, there is nothing special. If there is anything, that it's my faith. So this lady started to be curious about Islam. She was a young woman, curious about Islam, and then read and learn and embraced Islam and married one of the member of the community and became one of the most active member in the community. You can see that nobody lectured her. It just somebody was representing Islam, was good ambassador of Islam, attracted the attention or drew the attention of this person, and she ended up. And I don't see any better way for Muslims, individuals or community, except through your daily behavior and your impact on the society, both as an individual and as a community. You want to introduce Islam, want to tell people about Islam, that's the best way. Show it in your daily behavior and interaction, and show it as a community about what did you contribute. Now you established a mosque in Fairfax area, for example, or in this city or in that county, right, for a number of years. What problems you helped solving? What impact you had? What impact you had on this? What did you do? What did you add? What's the added value?
Yes. Yes. May I share personal stories very quickly? 2 minutes. To talking about the Salafi way of looking at people and judging them, and the other way through Islam. I used to live in New York. I did that for about 8 years, and I was active in the community, teaching Quran, teaching children on Sunday school. And people, alhamdulillah, they appreciated what I was doing. But it was mainly, I don't want to, it was mainly Indian, Pakistani, Egyptian community. And that's the type of people. And I loved all of them, and they all loved me. Except when it came time to make prayers, I was the most hafiz, let's say, or the most qari. I teach them how to read the Quran, alhamdulillah. But when it came to Jama'ah prayer, I was never asked to lead, which did not bother me at all, until one of the brothers who really loved me, he came, Brother Habbal, do you know why they never ask you to lead the prayer? I said, no, I don't care, actually. It's okay. He said, where's your beard?
Don't leave it at home. Bring it with you.
Bring it with you. You don't have the beard. I said, if that's how they think, I don't want to lead that prayer anyway. That's one picture here. The other picture, I am in Houston now for the past couple of years. I can't find a job. Alhamdulillah, I'm living near my children. So I'm having to drive my car for Uber. And I'm not ashamed of any of that. I'm doing that for a few hours every day to pay the bills. Because my name is Muhammad, and when people ask for a car and my name pops up, I find it a great responsibility that I treat everyone with extreme respect.
Mm-hmm.
So when they are ready to leave, they say, "Thank you, Muhammad." I think it's my responsibility. My father gave it to me, put it on my shoulder. He named me Muhammad. And I want people to remember the name Muhammad as someone who is extremely courteous and extremely respectful and does a very good job.
Mhm.
And this is my way of clearing the name of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know,
Barakallah
leaving
feek.
the impression that, you know, this. One person asked me, "Are you a Muslim?" I said, "Well, you will not find a Muhammad who is not a Muslim. I don't think you will." So, but that's my way of inshallah practicing the correct Islam. One last thing, most of us, when they are asked, "Why do you have such a good behavior?" we say, "I was raised in a good family."
Mm. Mm. Credit
So
the
we
family.
bring that back, tell it the family. I had a good father and a mother, and they raised me well. I think we should turn that a little bit differently. I was raised in a faithful Muslim family, and they taught me their real values. And that's
Mm.
why I became a good person. And we don't credit the faith of our families that turned us into decent human beings. And I think we should pay attention to that and mention it.
That's
You
true.
agree?
There's very important points. One is the feeling, the sense of responsibility that all of us should have, that you are not representing yourself, that you're representing a faith and you're representing a community, even if your name is not Muhammad. But of course, that's even more obvious, like Muhammad name or a sister with a hijab, that's become even more obvious and bigger responsibility. But even each one of us should have the same sense of responsibility. Wherever you are, at work, in the neighborhood, etc., you're representing a faith, you're representing a community. People are going to make their impression about Allah, about Islam through you. They probably will not have any other opportunity. It's only through your behavior. And the second thing, which is to be prepared so that if the opportunity comes, you can articulate your faith even in 30 seconds or in an elevator speech. They say that a lot of Muslims nowadays, unfortunately, if they have that opportunity, they will miss it, because if somebody will ask you about your faith, if you're going to start saying that we pray 5 times, that's it, point is lost. If you're going to start saying that we pray 5 times, we don't drink alcohol, and etc., you miss the opportunity. That's not what Islam is, or what Islam should be, how Islam should be introduced. So work on yourself to be the best ambassador, and work on yourself to be ready to be the best messenger of Islam when the opportunity comes, so that you can present your faith with wisdom. And then you can tailor it to the person and to the opportunity. If you have 1 hour to talk about your faith, you should be able to do it. If you have only 30 seconds, if you're talking to somebody who's highly educated, if you're talking to someone who's average, with an average education, you should develop that ability. It's very embarrassing for us nowadays that when someone is asked about their faith, they say, "I really don't know, or I don't have enough knowledge. I will take you to the Imam of the masjid. He may explain it to you." So what are you? You're following a faith that you don't understand? I mean, what's this? It's very embarrassing, and that no Muslim should be in that situation. And we have seen how the companions of the prophets, many of them were illiterate, yet they were able to articulate Islam in an excellent way, sometimes even in 10 seconds. Like Rabi' ibn Amr, when he stood in front of the king, Persian king, and he was asked, "What are you after? What are you?" He said that we are on a mission to save humanity. It's an amazing 10-second summary of the religion that he took that opportunity to show the essence of, rather than going into details and get lost there. But we are إن الله ابتعثنا لنخرج الناس من عبادة العباد إلى عبادة رب العباد ومن جور الأديان إلى عدل الإسلام ومن ضيق الدنيا إلى سعة الدنيا والآخرة. We are on a mission to establish justice, to free people from any oppression and any and then make them all worship their creator. It's an amazing statement by an average Muslim. And we have never seen anything else about Rabi' ibn Amir other than this statement. So he's not even a prominent companion. He was an average, one of the companions, and you can see the kind how the Prophet introduced Islam and how those people, they got it from the beginning. They got the heart of it. And from Allah's wisdom, for 13 years, Allah did not tell people about rituals or about fiqh, just to tell them that's not what Islam is. All of this came in Medina. For 13 years, the Prophet was getting the full commitment to the mission and to the ultimate purposes of Islam, which is dedicate yourself to Allah and pursue the good pleasure of Allah. Do what is expected. Whatever Allah wants you to be, you're going to be there. Whatever Allah expects you to do, you'll be doing it. Sign on that contract. And then these rituals came to support you on that mission, not to become the mission. No, you are on a mission to make this world so that justice prevail and peace and the ultimate purposes of Islam are fulfilled in pursuit of the good pleasure of Allah. And then to do that, Allah to help you prescribe those rituals and then made things are forbidden so that you cannot waste your energy or be distracted from your mission.
I think we have Brother Mahabullah. He raised his hand. Then Brother Ayman after him. Brother Mahabullah, please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Because we are talking about personal character building and take my question very lightly. So, I always have a dilemma on, how I am as a husband or a father. How much do I have to do so that, the rights are met? So like, for example, to like my wife says that, oh, you're great outside, but inside at home, you're like close to zero. So I guess, we have great people here, but how good are we as a husband? Like for example, or clean the house, okay? I cleaned it, but that's not good enough. Or washing the dishes. I'm not a good cook, and I gave up cooking. So, and she has, the question is, I think the question I'm asking is, as a good character that we have to be, how much we have to give to the home, where the home is satisfied, and how much that we have to give to the community. So how do we balance both? I asked one person, he said, I said, my wife asked me to clean the house, but the house is so big, it's gonna take me hours to clean it. So what do I do? He said, follow Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I said, okay. He said, he cleaned the house, but his house was very small. Just clean that portion. You're good to go.
My brother is, you're raising very, very good points. They can take us in many directions, actually. The first one is, it's very important for us to redefine akhlaq. Character is not a mask. Character is a real thing that shows when it is tested. A lot of us nowadays are working on their image, as the brother said, and we worry about that image and we impress each other in the mosque, and only Allah knows what we do behind the scene, as they say. So it's, subhanAllah, Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because he had genuine character, the closest people to him are the ones who are more impressed about his character, his manners, not the other way around. So the closer you get to the Prophet, because the character are genuine, it's not a mask. It's not a mask that when you get close, you'll discover the real thing. No, when you discover the real thing with the Prophet, you get even more impressed because his character were genuine. They were coming from inside. They were not masks that. So it's very important to remember that when we talk about developing your character or your manners, we're talking about something that you implanted here and then in your heart, and then it comes natural in your behavior, not a mask that you put to impress people. So honesty and integrity, it's something that you need to work so hard for it and keep it all your life. And then it shows in your behavior, not look like you are an honest person. No, you are truly an honest person. So that when people come close to you, when they interact with you, and when that character is tested, it shows that it is true. It's genuine. Many of you probably know the story of Umar ibn Khattab when he heard somebody praising another person, talking, saying good things about him. And Umar ibn Khattab asked him, he said, did you travel with him? Because we know when we travel, we know the truth about one another. We're going to be close, whether you're traveling in a car or etc. You're going to interact, you're going to see the anger problems, you're going to see everything. It's not a mask that you put it, you can't. Did you travel with him? Did you deal with him with money? Because that's another test that a lot of time makes the whole thing collapse. هل سافرت معه؟ هل تعاملت معه بالدرهم والدينار? And then he concluded, he said, maybe you saw him just praying ruku'ah and sujood in masjid. That's how you made your impression. You're wrong. That's not how. So that's the first point brother raised. The second point is, unfortunately, we Muslims until now, we are still not realizing that yes, you are on a mission and you have a number of roles and responsibilities, but the biggest roles and the most critical roles that we have is you as a spouse and you as a parent. Why? Because these jobs have to do with the future generation, because that home that you're building is the incubator for children. So what you're going to deliver, what you're going to produce to the society. It's the more, and until now, we're still performing these roles haphazardly and learning on the job. No reading, no attendance like workshops or training. We just go get married and then raise children. Majority of Muslims have no clue about spousal relationship because they didn't read, and no clue about parenting because they did not learn, they did not read. And these are no longer things that should be done haphazardly. These are sciences now. There are, I made a series of sermons, khutbah, about the family from the inception. How we should make sure that there is maturity and compatibility, not just get married. And then how the new family should take time before they make that decision to have children, because it's easier to separate without children, because that's another stage. Unless there is a solid foundation, there is no point in crossing that line. So and then you raised also the point about, so it's really long overdue that we take these roles seriously and we educate ourselves about these two roles and two responsibilities, because we cannot afford to continue do them haphazardly like we're doing now. We can't. So critical. And the last point that brother raised is the balance. The balance is the magic word. It's like I said, the $1 million question. But what we should be doing all the time is to work to strike and maintain the balance. Maybe it will not be perfect balance. Maybe every now and then something falls behind, but we should not accept that as normal. We should always struggle and strive to strike balance between different roles and duties we have. We have a mission, we have roles, and the Prophet was so clear. وَإِنَّ لِأَهْلِكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقٍّ وَإِنَّ لِجَسَدِكَ عَلَيْكَ حَقٍّ. فآتي كل ذي حق حقه. That you have responsibility toward family, you have responsibility toward the society, you have responsibility toward yourself. You have all these roles and responsibilities, and you should try to strike a balance between them. And I know it's not a decision that you make. I'm going to say tomorrow my life is going to be balanced. No, it's a struggle. But as long you're trying, as long you don't abandon anything, any item, any responsibility, you're still in good shape. It's like the khushu'a, the concentration in prayer. As long you're trying, you're still in good shape. But the moment you give up and you start thinking and dreaming while you are praying, then that's a problem. But as long you are trying, so it's trying to strike a balance between family, work, your mission, your health, your reading, etc., requires a very, very, very strict time management. Very strict time management. Time is so precious. And if you think about it, we have only a small amount of time that is under our control. Most of the time is out of control. If you remove the time of sleeping and the time of work and the time of this, what's left in? You have only a few hours that you're controlling a day. They have to be managed very, very strictly and very efficiently so that you can fulfill all these roles and responsibilities. Your role as a spouse, your role as a parent, your role as a citizen, your role, etc. The mission that you are assigned, the knowledge that you are supposed to be acquiring all the time, your body that you should maintain a good health, etc. So much to learn and so much to do. And that's what we missed as Muslims, unfortunately, that even about our religion, there is so much to learn and there is so much to do. There is so much to learn about this life and there is so much to do. There is no time to waste. We are racing against the clock and we have to have that sense of urgency that I was assigned a huge mission and I have a number of big responsibilities and roles that Allah has assigned me. How can I balance them? And one way to do that is strict time management, but also self-development and self-empowerment, because the more skills you have, more efficient you become. The more resources you have, the more you can do. So that self-development, not only spiritual, self-development in general, acquiring skills, acquiring why you can do more in a shorter period of time. Why? Because of the skills that you learned and because of the resources that you gain. I mentioned this example before. Some of you have heard it from me. And I came to this country in the 90s. And I remember I took the first class and then they gave us a paper. At that time, there was no laptops yet. There is a computer center in the university where you go. And so you go to and then I finished the paper, but then you have to type it. So at that time, I was typing like with one finger, look for the letter, etc. So I found out that it took me much longer to type it than to prepare it. So I said, is this going to happen in, the graduate courses, they are all papers and projects, and you're going to be typing all the time. I said, no, this is not going to work this way. I need to learn typing. Everybody around me said, no, it doesn't work. We tried before. You know how we do it in our culture. Yeah. Don't try. We tried this learning typing by yourself. It does not work. I said, went by bookstore. I found learn typing in 30 days, 30 lessons. So I took that small book, 1990, small book, and I took those lessons every day. By the end of the month, I was typing with all my fingers and typing very fast. I don't know how much time I saved since that time with every paper, with everything I was typing. Just to give you an example, one skill can allow you to do more in a shorter period of time. So, and that applies to many other things. So skills and resources and connection, that can allow you to balance all these responsibilities and to fulfill that big mission with the limited time that we have.
Ayman has.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Ghanouchi, Brother Muhammad, and Dr. Safi. I want to ask for recommendations for online classes, Islamic classes for children. The mosque that we have here is very small, and like we have mentioned, like Dr. Anushi mentioned in the beginning of the lecture, you know, the Salafi mindset is prevalent. And I was sitting after Taraweeh prayer for a short, like, lesson that they had. And so this, they have a qari, or, I guess he gives the Friday khutbah. He started by saying that I kuntu khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas, but then he didn't finish it. He just said that, and he started to, making everybody feel good that you are khayru ummatin ukhrijat linnas. You are the best ummah that was. And I was like, okay, well, what about the rest of the ayah? What are the conditions to be the best ummah? So he just went on, and I can sense it in his voice. He was so happy. He was part of the khayru ummatin ukhrijat linnas,
Chosen people.
Yes, exactly, absolutely. That you are the chosen people, and he was happy about it, so on and so forth. And then I know they give in the masjid here some Islamic courses, but I think they're haphazard. The kids just get together, and I don't think they get any benefit out of them, because I had my kids there a couple of years ago. So I'm looking for something online. If Dr. Safi, Dr. Anushi, or any of the brothers know of a good curriculum, basically to augment, what I do with the boys. I always teach them, the mission of Islam, and I stress to them character. Whether it's in school, whether it's with friends, whether it's in the soccer field. Because character is utmost importance for us as Muslims. So I want something that would augment what I teach them in the very little time that I have as a father, and as a husband, and as and as an engineer, and so on and so forth. So if you know any courses, can you share them with me? And I'm sure the rest of the fathers on this call can also benefit, inshallah.
Like Allah khair, I don't have something that ready now, but inshallah we'll look into see that if we find some material there or some programs that are geared toward children, inshallah.
Inshallah, barakallah feek. And Dr. Safi, if you know any programs, please let us know as well.
Inshallah, brother. Inshallah. I'm sorry I don't have any from the top of my head, but I would look into it also.
Jazakallah khair.
We can have a discussion maybe next session, next meeting. We can have more on that subject, the family and the role of husband, and because there's two questions today came up, and it's a very important issue. Inshallah, we can maybe talk about that.
Inshallah.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
Any other comments, questions before we finish the session? It's 1:32 or 1:33 now.
All right.
I think we usually stops at 1:30. So thank you everybody for joining, and inshallah we'll see you next time.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. How are you, Brother Sam?
Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. We did not see you this time.
No, I'm sorry.
I mean, can you come? I sent you something on in the 15th. B-Dash, they're having like big iftar at the senior citizen in Sterling here. Is
Where?
in Sterling.